Kasongo. Yani the latest ametoa from his war chest of propaganda is that the young people of this country should be told by their parents to start behaving. Otherwise, ataendelea kuabduct.
Yale yamesemekana mambo ya abduction tutakomesha, ndio vijana wa Kenya waweze kuishi kwa amani na vile wawe na nidhamu na wawe wangwana, tuweze kujenga Kenya tukiwa pamoja.
Yani, that was the most outrageous thing I've ever had a president admit to on live media. And I think he was actually pushed by Raila. And also maybe Gachagua, because before that, Gachagua had held a presser and divulged some critical information and threatened to give more information if they did not stop the abductions.
There is a building in Nairobi, the 21st floor, in the city center, where this unit is operating from, led by a certain Mr. Abel. Will be giving a second name in the next 1 week or so. It's a unit of officers drawn from across security agencies that are not under the command of the Inspector General of Police. Abel is a cousin to a very senior government official in this administration. And if this unit is not dismantled, we'll be giving the name of the building and the full names of that officer and his cousin in this administration. And these people are not answerable to the Inspector General of Police.
And then it seems like Raila actually took it up from there. Previously, like a day or two before, Raila had come out and said that these abductions are primitive and they should not be allowed in a country like Kenya.
We condemn in the strongest terms possible the idea of abductions, abducting young people and taking them to torture, keeping them incommunicado for so many days, causing too much distress to the parents, particularly at this time when people are celebrating Christmas, New Year. This kind of practice is not completely buried with the old constitution.
And it appears that when he got on the platform in Homa Bay, he had been informed that Gachagua had actually threatened to divulge more detail. So it was like a race between the two. Who will take credit to be the one who actually made Ruto admit that he's been carrying out abductions on Kenyans and he is going to stop. And so Raila came on stage and proper gave it to Ruto.
Wawe salama. Nimemwambia rafiki yangu huyu Ruto, ile mambo ya vijana kushika hovyo, na kupigwa pingo, na kuweka mahali, na kuteswa, ikome kabisa. Isiendelee. Wale ambao wanafanya mambo kama haya washikwe, wanaswe na wawekwe ndani, ili tuweze kuishi kwa amani. Hata kama wewe unapinga mimi, wewe si adui yangu. Hata kama ni mtusi mimi, wewe si adui yangu. Mimi nimetusiwa sana katika social media. Mimi ninacheka nasema huyu ni mpumbavu. Si ni mpumbavu tu. Si ni mpumbavu tu sio?
Man, you can see how the guys behind Raila look so uncomfortable. From Kimani Ichung'wah to this other guy, Kaluma, MP for Homa Bay Town, who has literally become a choir boy for Ruto since this bread-based government happened. And the other guys as well, Junet Mohammed, he's almost scratching his head like, wow, how did he tell that to the president? Literally, Raila manhandled this guy. He told him, look, you gotta come out clean. You gotta stop what you're doing. He didn't even give him room for doubt, like to say, oh, maybe it's not me, it's the police, it's who, it's NIS. He said, you gotta stop abductions. I've spoken to you and you've got to stop it. That was the biggest slapdown I've ever seen on a head of state on live TV. Literally, it was like Raila was the president and Ruto was like the minister for interior, the CS for interior or something like that. That's what it looked like to most people. And this is something that I'm sure Ruto, behind the scenes, is not taking lightly, is not taking kindly. He's the kind of guy who really gets hurt when someone upstages him or when someone demeans him in public. And I'm sure he's not happy. He's seething. He may appear on the outside like he's smiling, but inside he's proper seething. And I'm sure behind the scenes, his handlers, his people are not happy with Raila at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some cold war going on between the camps at the moment. But back to subject. The young people have been militant on social media since Finance Bill 2024 coming this way. And this admission is actually a great coup for all Kenyans because now the battle lines are drawn. Here is a president who is not abiding by the constitution, who is actually abetting gangland-like practice of abducting his own citizens. This is something that is unheard of. A president admitting that he circumvented the existing law and enforcement order, using the police, and now is actually using his own militia to abduct people. Like a gangland militia leader, like some mafia boss. Man, this is threatening to lower Kenya to levels of failed states, countries that are run by drug cartels. We cannot allow this. And so now the citizens have got a smoking gun. And out of this, I don't actually see Ruto making it to 2027 because this is going to be too hot for anybody to handle. In fact, even his backers in the West, the US, the EU, have now got egg on their hands because someone can go out there and say, how can you continue backing this guy whose regime is actually abducting young people, torturing them, and even killing them? That is going to be a smudge on their face. The human rights record of this guy is appalling. 2 years in power, and already so many young people dead, and abductions becoming rampant, like the order of the day. And so the young people are saying, no, we're not going to allow this. And what is Ruto doing? He goes out there and says no more abductions, and then the very next day, we see this video of an abduction taking place in South B. So what's happening here now? Are you not in charge? Is the president in charge of this country? If he can say this is not going to happen, and then it happens, it means that maybe he also needs rescuing. Who is in charge of this country? Has Uganda come in and annexed Kenya and we don't know? Is Museveni in charge of Kenya now? The other day they came into Kenya, they walked in like bosses and took out Besigye and took him to Uganda. So is that to mean something then? Is he not in charge? And that is why these protests by the Gen Zs planned for Monday are going to be critical because we need to go out there and put pressure on Ruto. So guys, keep on the fight. A luta continua. Let's go to the streets and demand that every single disappeared person, every single abducted person is released immediately without any conditions. And number 2, Ruto must go. He must resign. We cannot have a president who abducts us, who operates outside the constitution, the very constitution that he swore to defend. If he can abduct people, if he can do that, what else can he do? Is your money safe? Are your animals safe in his hands? Is the food imported in this country safe? We cannot trust him with anything. If he is going to operate outside the law and abduct people and torture them, and some of them get killed, how can we trust him with anything? Personally, I can't trust him as a colleague or even as my employee. And in this case, we the Kenyans are the employers of this guy. We are the employers of Ruto. And at the moment, the majority of us have got only one thing in mind. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, like and comment, and hit the bell button so you get notified next time we post. Cheers. God bless.